Now let's go ahead and create our own Photoshop brushes and see how we can tweak and customize them. Actually, creating brushes is so easy in Photoshop. So selecting our brush tool, and let's select for instance our default brush. From brushes, scrolling up, where I'm gonna be selecting that one. And before we start using that one, we need to slightly modify our brush. So I'm gonna be switching to brush settings panel. You can be finding that one as well in your window if you don't see it in here. This one. Then we need to be controlling brush tip by selecting brush tip shape. And here you can see a preview of your brush. And as you can see here, we have a jagged edge. So if we start painting with our brush, we will be getting the same effect in here. So in order to fix that thing, we need to be reducing spacing between those circles of our brush, since that brush is simply made by circles next to each others. So we need to be reducing spaces between them to have smooth edge like that, and trying our brush maybe even more, and that looks nice. Now we can be reducing brush size as well. And collapsing brush settings, clearing our canvas. Let's maybe start drawing anything, maybe a signature. Let's say we need to be creating our own signature as a brush. And let's say we need to use that one as a brush. So we need to be making a selection, selecting that marquee select tool to create a selection around our shape. Then we need to go to edit, selecting define brush preset. Let's call it signature. Hitting OK. Now we have that one as a brush, as you can see. However, we need to deselect our selection. We can start signing everywhere. We can be reducing our brush size, trying that one on a smaller scale. So let's say we need to be signing our artwork. Once we finish them, we can be moving to that image. We can be creating a new layer on top of our layers and swapping colors, pressing X. And here you go, simply like that. However, let's go back to our file once again and discover how we can be customizing our brushes, creating different shapes. So I'm going to be creating a brush out of a very simple line. Let's first clear our canvas, filling with foreground color this time, holding Alt or Option key and backspace. And now let's go back and select our default brush, this one. And let's choose a different cool color, reducing our brush size and placing a dot in here. And now let's say we need to draw a straight line to here. We can be holding Shift key and clicking once. You can be also using the same trick to draw straight lines while using your brush tool. So you can be drawing sharp straight lines while holding Shift, simply like that. And we can keep connecting these dots while we have Shift. However, let's remove that, selecting Eraser tool and selecting default brush for Eraser tool and removing that line. Easy like that. So back to our brush tool, we have that line created for us. Maybe it has some slope in here, so let me try drawing another one. This one looks even better, so I'm gonna be removing that one as well. Eraser tool, you are fired. And now let's create our custom brush. So I'm gonna be selecting our rectangular marquee selection tool once again, drawing a selection around that one, and going once again to edit, define brush preset, and let's call this one forward slash. Now removing our selection, going to select, deselect. Now we have our brush set. We can start drawing with that one. This is looking more now like a calligraphic brush. However, now let's see how we can be tweaking that brush, getting even more complicated shapes or at least cooler shapes. So going to our brush settings for the same brush, let me clear our canvas so we can see what we're doing. We already covered the spacing for our brush, so we can be increasing or reducing the spaces between our brush, which will be resulting in a different shape for our brush. It's gonna be looking like that. However, let me get the spacing once again, maybe to here, and reducing brush size a bit. Going to shape dynamics. Here we can be adding some randomness to our brush. Actually, most of these will be adding more randomness to our brush. So for instance, we have size jitter, where we can be having different sizes within our brush. And as you can see in the preview, it's getting different. So let's try painting with that one. We have bigger and smaller lines within our brush. And we can set minimum diameter for that one. And also we can be changing angle for our lines from here. So they will be almost crossing like that. Or we can set that angle back to 0. And we can be choosing from control to make that one directional, where those lines will be following our curves. So let me increase brush size a bit and start drawing in a curvy way. And as you can see, those lines are following our curve. However, if we disable that option to off and maybe mimic the same curve, we are getting different results. And also we can be tweaking that option here to have different shape for our brush. Now let's disable shape dynamics and going to scattering this option in here, clearing our canvas, and let's increase scatter for our brush, where it's going to be looking like that. And also we can increase count or reduce it, as you can see how it's going to look like in our brush preview. Then we have texture, where I'm going to be disabling scattering and switching to texture. We can be adding textures to our brushes. So from here we can be selecting from different textures, and also we can be loading more by clicking that one, where you can be loading maybe artistic surfaces or maybe nature patterns and so on and so forth. However, let's maybe select that one here. And you have some options for scale, brightness, contrast. However, let's change mode to multiply so we can see that one. And now we are seeing a texture within our brush. It's looking somehow cool, and also you can be changing these settings in here. You will be getting different results as usual. Now let's disable that option, going to dual brush, where you can be adding another brush to your existing brush. So let me clear that canvas for you guys. And now let's add maybe some splatters to our brush. So maybe something like that will be within our brush. So now it's gonna be looking like that. Ink splatters within our brush. And you can customize them from here. Now moving to color dynamics. Selecting that one. So now let's try our original brush. This is how it looks like. However, we can be mixing different brush colors for our brush. So maybe you can be adding foreground, background, jitter to our brush, maybe all the way to here. And also changing our background color, swapping colors, maybe something like that. Now let's try our brush once again. And it looks really cool that way. However, let's get that one back to 0. And we can be adding hue jitter, where it's gonna be looking like that. So now we are getting different colors for our brush. Now they are being applied by tip, so we can be disabling that option and see what we get. So now we are getting magenta brush color. However, if we start painting, we are getting different colors each and every time. So as you can see guys, we are getting unlimited options in here, and even we have more options for saturation, brightness and purity for the color. However, let's disable that one, discovering transfer. And now let's clear our canvas. Now let's say we need to get our colors back in a very quick way. We can be going to swatches, and here we can see our recently used color, which is orange, and also we can get our magenta back, swapping colors, selecting that one, and instead of eyeballing them every time from here. And let's go back to our brush settings. We have opacity, jitter for our brush, and testing that one is how it's gonna look like. So we have different opacities within our brush, and also we can be increasing flow to have even more extreme results, just like painting with running out color pen. And also we can be adding noise to our brush, maybe if we are going after grungy or dirty look or effect. We can be also adding wet edges to our brush, disabling noise. And also we can be activating build up for our brush, which is similar to using airbrush, so it's like spraying that on canvas. So if we keep clicking, it's gonna be building up just like that. However, if we click once, it's gonna be looking like that. Now let's disable build up and keep clicking. It's not building up, so we have one brush stroke at that time, and that option also can be activated from here. So you can be selecting that option for your brush, and it's gonna be activated, and you can be building up your effect. And also you have the smoothing feature, which is existing also in here. And also we can be activating protect texture for our brush, and that will be preserving our texture pattern for our brush when we apply brush preset, and that will be preserving our texture pattern for our brush. Now we are done with our brush and brush settings. Go ahead and have fun creating your own brushes. The sky is the limit when it comes to creating brushes. You can be starting with circles or even any shape you would like to start with. Could be even more complicated shape. Then you can keep experimenting with all these settings in here to get your amazing brush.